So namaskar and good evening. First of all, I really want to thank the organizers, especially the president and the vice president and the members of the committee for inviting me here. I'm really truly grateful to them for this honor. I also want to thank two of my colleagues from Ministry of Government Services, Sudeepa and Mansa. I think they do a wonderful job for the Ministry of Government Services. And I want to say thank you. In a way, they were instrumental really getting me here. Sudeepa has actually helped me enormously during my election as well. So I want to thank him publicly for that. So thank you, Dan, for that kind introduction. Dan, I have known Dan for a while. Actually, he has been one of my supporters as well. Participates in all my fundraising. So I want to say thank you. We need both business people like you, and we are very proud of you. I also want to start by saying congratulations for the new year. You know, the new year in India, almost in every region, is celebrated one way or the other around the same time. So congratulations for the new year. And I also want to thank the organizers actually for organizing this kind of event. I know it takes an incredible amount of time and effort to really organize the events of this magnitude. It is important for us to organize these events because I think we have a very rich heritage and culture, and we need to show it not to just to our own communities, but also need to show to the broader communities like who we are, what we believe in, and how old and good culture is ours. The second, I think the important thing for organizing is actually to let the kids know about our culture a little bit. If we don't do that, I think then we will not be fulfilling our responsibility as well. So we need to bring them together and let them get to know what our culture is all about, how rich it is, and why they should be very proud of our culture. So I want to say thank you to the organizers for doing this. I know it's a long weekend, it's a beautiful day outside. You'd rather be outside than inside, but I think this is important, so thank you. One of the professors said, I don't know why you're being recognized. Sir, you are being recognized because you have done enormously, not for this community, but you have done enormously for the community in Ontario and in Canada. So I really want to say thank you for what you have done. We are very proud of, I was very actually, when I heard about how many professors are from your community, I was actually very amazed, and I really want to say thank you. You are the people who really opened the doors for us. If we are where we are today, it is because you opened the doors for us. You have educated an enormous amount of people in Ontario, in Canada. I'm sure they are very successful where they are, but there are very few people who have achieved the kind of thing that you have achieved. So I want to say not only on behalf of the organizers, but I want to say on behalf of the government of Ontario for what you have done, and I really am very proud of you. Thank you for doing what you did. I know we also had the Mother's Day this week, right? So I want to congratulate all the mothers as well. You know, sometimes we take for granted the contribution of women. They do so much for our families. Actually, we won't be even here if they are not here. And the second is actually they bring our families together. So I want to say thank you for coming here today. Thank you for what you do day in, day out. And I want to say to me, about me, I am what I am, but my mother made me. And I know sometimes I have two daughters. They are, I would say they are pretty successful. One is doing the medicine, other is working for the Microsoft. She did her MBA and CA. And sometimes people tell me your daughters are like you, but I really want to say my daughters are like my wife. I think the reason is, I wouldn't be able to do this job if my wife was not doing what she does. She runs my business, she runs my house, she looks after my daughters, and before she enters into the house every day in the evening, the first thing she does is calls my daughters. I think we are a different, somehow we don't get that right. So I want to say thank you for what you do. Really, I'm very proud of the women in our society. I think if we have certain values, it's just because of it. The third thing I think is you live in Canada, and I want to say thank you to the organizers as well for celebrating the 60th Diamond Jubilee of the Queen of England and actually our Queen as well. I want to tell you a little story. The first time I became a minister, and a friend of mine called me a couple of days later, and he said, I got documents from your ministry, and you are signing on behalf of the Queen, Her Majesty the King. Actually, it never hit me in my head till somebody pointed out to me, I just signed it, right? So somebody pointed it out to me that actually I was signing on behalf of Canada. So I'm very proud of our monarchy. I think all of us who come from Commonwealth countries, we have something in common, and it is important for us if we live in this country that we should celebrate the days that are important to this society and important to us as well. We are very fortunate to live in a society that is democratic. We can express our opinions, we can raise issues. As Dan said, we can walk into the politician's office and then tell them what you feel about it, or how you feel about it, and what some of your issues are. Even though India is a democratic country, it's still a little hard for you to really go and see the minister or the member of provincial parliament and so on. So I think we are very fortunate to live in this country. But most importantly, I really want to say thank you for what you do for Ontario. Thank you what you do for Canada. I mean, we have done extremely well in Canada. And we have done even much better in Ontario. I always say, I don't think there is a place where we have done better than Ontario. We have been in Ontario, most of us, leaving few professors aside, who came in maybe the 1950s and the 1960s. Some of us came in the early 70s. When I came to Canada in 1974, I remember very clearly, in Toronto, maybe there were 5 or 6 families, actually the people who were really married. Most of us came right out of the university, we were very young. And, the Ontario has gone through a tremendous change in the last 20 years. Tremendous change for the good. If you look at our community, our presence is felt everywhere. The professors, they paved the way for us in the education sector. Maybe they were some of the very originals who became professors here. But I know for sure there was shortage of math professors and teachers at a certain point in time in Canada. And they used to look to India to get those professors and the teachers. But I think if you look at now, University of Toronto, the Mississauga campus, the principal and the vice principal of the University of Toronto actually is Indian. And you look at the University of Western Ontario, actually the person also comes from South Asia. So we have done not only well in academic at the teaching level, but I think we also have done better at the administrative level as well. If you go to any hospital, you see it's people at all senior levels in the hospital. You go to the business community, you find people like Dan Mishra, who have done really well. And of course, you can find an odd politician like me somewhere as well. Actually, it's not odd anymore. I counted once, we have 27 people of Indian origin elected in Canada now. We have ministers at the federal level, we have ministers at the Ontario level, provincial level, we have ministers in Alberta, and we have members of legislature in BC. We have seen a person to become Premier of BC, and people who have served as Attorney General and so on. So I think we have done extremely well, and we should be really thankful for how well we have done. But I want to say thank you, because you are the models that we can look to for your contribution to Ontario and so on. So on behalf of the Ontario government and on behalf of everyone in our caucus and in our cabinet, I want to say thank you. Keep up the good work. I want to say one thing to the kids at the end. I don't know whether any of you watched Shah Rukh Khan speak at Yale University recently. I'm sure the professors have read it. And he said two things. He said, one was he was talking about his own experience, but he was talking about both of his kids. He said he sent a letter, he was in London actually shooting a film. So he sent a little note to her daughter and sent a little poem. And he said, you know, I really love you and I miss you and so on. And the daughter wrote back quickly, see Dad, I also love you, we miss you, and I will keep this poem forever with me. He said, I was feeling guilty, I sent it to my son as well. Not the poem, but he said, son, you know, you are the best thing that happened, your mother is very proud of you, and so on. He said, son wrote back with one letter, and he said, why? And he said, that's the difference between the daughters and the sons. He said, but we are both proud of, we are very proud of both our son, daughter and son. He said, the kids should really be very proud of their parents. Sometimes we don't do the right things, but we always try to do the best thing for them. So I really want to say to the younger generation, respect your parents. They are around looking after you. So thank you very much for giving me a few minutes to talk.